makes it the winning list?
We have a list that is very diverse, a list that embodies competence, experience, youth, energy, commitment, a list that represents all of Guyana, a list that represents what is needed to take our country forward, a list that shows how we bring Guyana together and how we're presenting a national team to these elections as we move to victory.
Even as you're contesting this election, sir, you have 19 charges. If convicted, how do you plan to challenge them?
Today, we start the journey to victory. That is the only thing on my mind. The only thing as presidential candidate on my mind now is Guyana, moving Guyana forward and going on to victory. That is what we're doing.
Sir, any surprises on
Thank
the
you.
list?
Concerns about forged names on other lists. There's quite of concerns of forged names.
It is a major concern. We are calling on GCOM and the police to get involved in any act of forgery on any list. Because from what we gather, some of the parties have collected names on the basis of petitions that are for different things. People are not aware they're going to be candidates or backers. We saw this happening in WIM the last time at the local government elections with no consequences. If this continues, then it would encourage parties to commit fraud at election time. And so strong action must be taken against anyone who fraudulently puts a name on the voters list. Not on the voters list, but the list of candidates.
Mr. Jagdeo, with respect to the voters list, the GCOM chairman earlier today said that no evidence was presented to her to show that those 6,000 persons odd or so were not found and they were vacant lots. What's your reaction?
That's not true. We shared several names. I can give you 4 names now. I can go into my phone and find 4 names at 4 addresses. If you go to, you would not find a single house there. And so we have the evidence. It was shared at GCOM. And if you're going to go on a verification exercise to verify 16,000 names, your own staff says we've only been able to verify 10,000. It means the other 6,000 remain unverified. Her staff said that. It's not the PPP. And so that's one. And secondly, this surreptitious access to the NRR to start altering people's particulars, addresses, names, etc., using the unverified database. That too is a bit dangerous thing. And so we intend to pursue both to the end until we have a list that is clean. And the international community is already aware of these concerns.
So how are you going to pursue them beyond?
Well, I think now that we have drawn the attention of the international community and the media, things can happen when they're in the dark. And that is what happened historically, because we didn't have a vibrant press. Look how many of you are here. The country knows from the moment something happens right across Guyana, from Oriala all the way to maybe Paramakatoy, they know what's going on. And it's public pressure, it's exposure, it's the international community, it's persistence that would ensure that this is fixed.
Mr. Jagdeo, follow up on another question. What's your plan B if Mr. Irfaan Ali gets convicted?
The thing is that I don't know what's APNU's plan B if Granger gets a relapse.
But I'm asking you about...
No, that's it. Relapse and can't continue for the elections. Today is not a day for that. It's not a day for that. We will win the elections. We'll win the elections with Irfaan Ali as the presidential candidate. He will be a president for all the people of Guyana. He will implement a plan that the People's Progressive Party has put forward to take care of all Guyanese. That is it.
Right,
we can come up with several hypotheticals. I just gave you one.
But you said
I just gave you one. Thank you very much.
Asking you a question that's valid. Therefore, what's your plan B?
If he's convicted, what happens?
That's a hypothetical. If anything happens, we deal with it. We deal with it at that point in time. We'll deal with it at that point in time. What if somebody drops dead on the other side? What will happen to their list? What will happen to their list?
Any new faces?
Lots of new faces. So we plan, moments from now, you will see a press release issued and some new faces that were on our list. You will see that.
Is Mr. Shearer there? No, she was looking
Teixeira is on the list. A lot of the people who are in the parliament now are there, but So we have a combination of folks who have been a long time with us and a lot of new faces.
So she has
Our
given up
list,
citizenship.
our top-up list, yes, till Tashira has given up her Canadian citizenship to be part of the list. On the top-up list, we have 116 members, so it's a lot of new faces too that you will see. Young, bright people who can lead, and we believe in young people. We have a young candidate, we had young ministers, we have young MPs, we have young leaders of the party. More than half of the Central Committee are young people. We believe in young people. We live that way. This fossilized old bunch can't do anything for young people.
How big do you think your chances are at the March 2 election?
Great. The chances are great, but the PPP has never been an arrogant party. We continue to work hard on the ground to ensure that there's no doubt about that victory. What is APNU going to tell people? Listen to their rallies. Their rallies or their public meetings are nothing about their track record, nothing about the future plans. If you drive around the city, you can see what our future plans are because we've put them out in a manifesto, we put them on the post, lantern posts, etc. Their only campaign rally is about us. The same old rhetoric of 2014. Jagdeo bad, people corrupt. This most corrupt government in the world talks about corruption under the PPP. They've gone back to the old rhetoric. That doesn't feed people. When you go to Hope Town, imagine in Hope Town where they've raised rentals from $3,500 to $15,000 per year per acre for those farmers. He will go and talk about agriculture. Dare talk about agriculture. Mr. Granger would do that. He's put taxes, the VAT on machinery and equipment for agriculture, on pesticides, on fertilizer, has cut the budget for DNI in MMA, has given out his cronies nearly 15,000 acres of land to 2 persons in MMA when hundreds of families are waiting to get land. And Dare talks about agriculture in Region 5. This is the disconnect that you see between Granger and what he says on the platform and what the reality of life
How
is.
do you respond to the statement made by the APNU AFC that you've chosen a puppet candidate?
Irfaan Ali got 24 of 35 votes in the Central Committee of the PPP. Granger had to rig his way into the leadership. You recall, Greenwich won the thing first, and then the recount, he got it. They rigged their way. Irfaan Ali did not have to rig his way.
Are you going to scale back of the campaign season?
No, I'm not scaling back on nothing. I'm not. The candidate is in front. I'm not scaling back on exposing.
When did
this
I go
government.
back?
Why should
All right.
Guyanese give the PPPC another chance at governance?
Because of our track record. I can tell you, you want me to list all the things that happened? I can list them. When I list some of these things, we took a bankrupt country and made it economically viable. A country that was a low-income country and made it into a middle-income country. We took a country that had 153% of revenue to pay debts. When we left, it was 4% of revenue. Interest rates were 30%, nearly 38% of GDP. Now, 38%. Now it's 10%. People can borrow. Nearly 100,000 house lots given out to Guyanese. I can go down the list. I can go down a long list. Why? More people had jobs under us. The cost of living was lower. People had money in their pockets.
The important thing is that we can answer for our time in government. The APNU is running from their own period in government. You're not speaking about their record. You're not speaking, and the media need to ask them about all the promises they made. What happened to those promises? They are hiding from their own promises. They can't share a manifesto. And you know,
but they continue to badger the PP about phantom squads and death squads.
Yeah. But they did, listen, they were in government. They did all the investigation. At the end of it, even Granger himself said that there is no evidence. So why is this still an issue when Granger himself came out and said there is no evidence for conviction? This is the propaganda. This is the propaganda that they continue to fuel because it is in their head, this is the only hope. To divide, to spread propaganda, and this is the type of politics that they're accustomed to.
And we would have expected the media to condemn the openly racist statements made by Joseph Harman. Openly racist statements describing Afro-Guyanese as tokens and talking about our people, etc. As I said before, Harman didn't know anything about our ordinary Afro-Guyanese in the last 4.5 years. He was hobnobbing with rich Indian people, and we have evidence about that. Now he needs votes. Now suddenly they're back in the communities about our people, our people. When he neglected the vendors, farmers from black communities, etc. The last 4.5 they were not their people. Now suddenly they're their people.
Will the PPPC be doing a joiner of lists with any of the smaller parties?
Right now we have no such discussion.